Hi, and welcome to The Harvest with me, Kamal Fisher. Today we're interviewing CEO and President Joel Fruand from SenesTech Inc. Hi, Joel. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
As a start, just give us an overview of SenesTech, where you're listed, what the ticker is, and of course, what has inspired the mission, just for all of our viewers out there.
Sure, absolutely. So we're a biotech and life sciences company. We're traded on the NASDAQ, ticker symbol SNES. Our mission at SenesTech is to improve public health by managing animal pest populations through fertility control. So we do things a little bit different than they do for one of the world's oldest issues, and that's rodent control. Right now we have labels for rats and for mice, and so we attack the problem at its root cause, reproduction. So really, in essence, what we're doing is rodent birth control. And it's a very proactive approach as opposed to what you read a lot about in the news lately, and that is cities and other government agencies that are trying to control rodent problems by poisoning and killing and trapping and all those things. So we're a little bit different in that respect.
So tell us more about the science behind SenesTech's ContraPest product. How does it work?
So I'll start out with this fact that usually leaves people with their jaw dropping, and that is that 2 rats in 1 year can become 15,000. So that is really the basis for our product. That's our why, because when you start doing the numbers, is you cannot poison, trap, drown, whatever you want to do. You cannot do that fast enough without addressing the reproductive rate. And that is really why our product is in the news a lot right now and why we're getting such success out in the marketplace. But really, so when you look at it, it's like, okay, so how did this come to being? SenesTech started as a research company. They were looking at research that would mimic menopause or medicinal research. And they came across something that they developed into a product called ContraPest. And it's a liquid product. It's patented. It's a technology that really reduces or eliminates fertility in both females and males. So in males, it affects the sperm reproduction, and in females, it does pretty much the same, only it attacks the follicles. So when this product is being used out in the marketplace, it's like it impacts both male and females and limits the reproductive rates for both. So the ContraPest product, it works. It's proven itself out in the field. And we introduced some different delivery systems in order to be more focused on how rats are in the marketplace, whether they're in their burrows or their roof rats. And we have very loyal customers that love the product. So it's an attractive solution for them.
Wonderful. Very interesting. And is ContraPest your only product?
No, in fact, we're really excited about our new product, Evolve. And I'll actually tell you how it evolved. ContraPest liquid product, very good product. But when we started doing our analysis of the marketplace and what's used and what's not, asking 95% of all the products that are used out in the pest control industry are some type of solid product. So easy to use. Price-wise, it's very, very economical products. So asking our customers to switch over to a liquid had a lot of things that were complicated. And so when we came up with Evolve, we came out with it. It's what's called a soft bait product. So it's almost like cookie dough that the rats and mice really love. It has similar efficacy, meaning it works really well out in the field to ContraPest. But it had really 3 things that ContraPest didn't have. The first one, it had a shelf life of 1 year. So this is a great distribution product, even a retail product, because you can put it out on the shelves of distribution and it can be sold to the end users, homeowners. The other thing is that a solid formulation, as everybody was familiar with. So we're not asking them to do something different out in the field. And then the third thing was we were now able to offer it at a very competitive price to other rodenticides that are used out there. ContraPest is a little bit higher price product, and we were facing some feedback there. But the one thing that I also need to mention about Evolve, it's been designated by the EPA as a minimum risk product. It's all food additive ingredients. So when used according to the label directions, you can use this with no harm that can be done to humans, animals, or the environment. So we're really excited about that. And it works in the same way that ContraPest does. It has an active ingredient, which is actually cottonseed oil. And in males, it reduces the sperm count and motility. And in females, it affects the follicles and disrupts the estrous cycle. So both of those things show that it really reduces the amount of newborns that the rodents can have.
Wonderful. So, given that there's no poisons, that's obviously one way that you would address environmental impact of your products. Are there any other actions or ways that you address concerns around environmental impact of your products?
Yeah, so I think that, as I mentioned, that the reproductive rate is so high. So how are you going to be able to do this? Infestations that are out there, they can occur quickly. And everything else is addressing the death rate. So we're addressing the birth rate, and how do we do that? When you're designated as a minimum risk product by the EPA, you're using materials that they have deemed acceptable that pose little to no risk out there. So when you add all those things together, and then you start looking at the fact that, okay, the product has no poison, it's not harmful to non-target animals and humans, which we've heard numerous stories lately about, whether it's eagles or owls that feed on rats, and the rats have ingested rodenticide and the eagle or owl dies. Not a good situation for anyone. So you really can't have that with our product. And when you start looking at the formulation, it is specifically designed for the body mass of rats or mice in case of our mouse product. And so larger mammals would need to ingest a substantial amount over several weeks to see any effects. And then those effects would be concerned about reproduction and not death. So, and birds, there's a lot to be said for that. And birds are more tolerant than any of the other mammals, as they have different intestinal tracts and modes. So very unique product that minimum risk and no effect on non-targets.
I imagine they were, given everything you're saying, to prove the efficacy and the lack of risk through many other, species and humans, etc., that there were challenges in bringing this to market, Evolve and ContraPest perhaps as well. Can you speak more about those challenges and how you overcame?
Yeah, so, and actually let's just start backwards. Poisons and traps have been around for 50 years. So they got a 50-year head start. And that's the mentality that's out there. It's like, well, if you have an issue with animal pest, in this case rodents, that you will do something to work on the death rate of them. So a new product, there's a lot of skepticism. So what we've had to do is be able to go out into the field and work with customers on field trials of the product to prove the efficacy or to prove that it works. And once we started doing that, then we started gaining some repeat customers. The other part of it is we really focused on the customers and the groups out there that were environmentally conscious. And we started to see a lot of zoos start to use our products simply because there's no place in zoos for any type of poisons. And they keep coming back because it works. So in this day and age of immediate results, ours is a long-term solution. So we have to show that, okay, you start using this, and over the long term, you'll be much better off. Lack of infestations that occur. And that's what we're seeing, is that we're starting to get more and more of the pest control companies that are out there, the agriculture companies that want to do things a little bit differently now, because doing the same old thing and getting the same old results is not very advantageous for anyone.
100%. And I think it's a testament to itself that zoos, whose main mission is to protect animals, wildlife, and the entire ecosystem, that they are return customers. That says quite a lot about the product.
Yeah,
So
we are in 10 out of the largest 20 zoos in the United States, and we think that by the end of the year we'll probably be used in over 3/4 of them. And that's one of our continual focuses is on wildlife and on animals, and how are we going to protect their lives.
excellent. More about recent advancements or innovations to your product lineup in particular. Can you add some light to any of those?
Well, we started out with, so we had ContraPest. We're doing that. We came to the soft bait, and we've got a great product development team at SenesTech, and they set out to find some type of hard bait. And we ended up on a soft bait because it's one thing we found is that it's very palatable to the animal pests that are out there. And when we did our field trials on palatability, people were amazed that they said, well, we're used to not getting any rats or mice to go near something for 3 to 4 days. And in 2 days, they had destroyed all this. So we knew we were onto something. When we started doing that, we said, okay, how can we launch this? We found the right way to manufacture it, launch the product on January 1st of this year. Then we're like, okay, what is next? Evolve mouse. And so even though people intertrace the rats and mice together,
Right.
they're really different. They have different metabolisms, different body structures, and those types of things. So we launched Evolve Mouse on May 1st of this year. Right now, we've got approval in over 32 states for that, over 43 states with Evolve. And so that's on a fast track forward. And then we started looking at, well, how do we package the product, right? Sustainability is one of the key concepts of our company and something that we talk about a lot. And so we started putting the product in pouches instead of these big plastic pails. So we're making that transition over there. I'd say that the next thing with what we're going to be able to do with our innovation is that look at other animal pests. And we've got some things that are going on right now that look at things like squirrels. And interesting thing is when we go to some of these international trade shows, we get requests for what can you do for wallabies and kangaroos and those things. So we're constantly looking, okay, what's the next animal pest that we can create a fertility control product for?
Very interesting indeed. And so speaking about, branching out to various different animals, what markets and industries will SenesTech target, or are you currently targeting?
Well, if you look at our business, and we're really focused on 7 different markets. And the big one is, of course, pest control, pest management, and that entails residential pest control as well as commercial pest control. So we're really focused on that market. Agriculture is a great big market for us, simply because agriculture, you can really see the economics of having damage that's done by rats and mice, whether it's contamination or consumption or lower outputs like in egg and poultry production because of rats in there eating eggs. We're really focused on that, and that's been one of the key markets for us in launching Evolve. And then we're on the municipal side in cities and governments. We're really focused on that. That's probably where you hear the most about rat problems. New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, they're all involved in that. And then we're really excited about a couple of things that have happened, a couple of markets. So with Evolve, and I mentioned the shelf life that it has and the success rate it has on the efficacy of the product, is moving into the retail. And so right now we're on Amazon.com. We're talking to a lot of other big retailers. We're going to be at the Ace Hardware show in August. their marketplace where they have all of their um, stores come in and purchase. So we're excited about that. The other one I'm really excited about is international. This has opened up the world to us. And we've got product that's in Hong Kong, in Singapore, in the Maldives, and a bunch of other places. So we know that that's going to be a big marketplace going forward. And we're in the process of getting registered in all those countries.
So you may have touched on one or two elements of this next question, but is a complex landscape of pest control regulations out there. How does SenesTech stay on top of that, stay ahead of it, and navigate it just to obviously get ahead in what your mission is?
Yeah, it's certainly a lot more complicated than just making a product and going out and selling it.
Right.
Our regulating body is the EPA, and so we're in contact with the EPA on registering products like ContraPest, or to take advantage of the 25B exemption from the registration process by using those active ingredients and inert ingredients that have already been approved by the EPA back in 1996. So we were able to launch this under the 25B exemption simply because we complied with all of those. And being a minimum risk product has a lot of great attributes to it. And we were able to do this in a shorter amount of time simply because of complying with all of those. Some of the other things that we do is, we're actively involved in trade associations in the pesticide category, because there's certainly a lot of conflicts that arise with pesticides, from public perception right to the regulatory environment that we have out there. And so we are constantly working with our group of regulatory consultants that we have, and we also have some really good in-house expertise that guide us along that I call it the minefield, because it changes at times and we got to be able to adjust accordingly. So on one hand, it's fantastic that there is regulations out there that watch us, and then certainly we have to navigate those.
100%. And you touched on educating communities, because people have these preconceived ideas about pest controls, and part of that is obviously going to help you to infiltrate the market. So how do you go about engaging communities about the benefits of your products?
Well, so we have a lot of good things that we're doing. Is so our marketing group and public relations is we're really focused on being good corporate citizens, right? And so we want everybody to know that, okay, this is different than what you see in pest control. This is not poisons that we're using. And then we like to engage a lot of civic groups. And I'll give you an example of one of them. Is we had a Girl Scout group in New York City. And of course, New York City with their rat problem, they were really concerned because they were saying, is that what are those black boxes you see on the streets?
Right.
And then why do they put poison in them? And so they designed an underground bait station that uses our product. And they like it because it's not a poison, and it's a natural and food additive product.
Yeah.
And they designed the space station underground that uses our product. So that was just, an example of reaching out to some of those groups. And of course, there's a lot on social media these days, and we're really starting to get more and more engaged with the activists that are on social media and trying to do better for the environment and for people in the pest control space.
Wonderful. So let's look at some partnerships or collaborations that you're currently involved with, and shed some light on those for us, please.
Yeah, so I mentioned our international, which has been one big thing. We have a number of distributors that are out there that cover countries for us. We have it in Hong Kong and Singapore and South Africa and New Zealand and Australia and the Netherlands. We're really working with them to take Evolve down the same path in their countries to get the approvals and the regulatory concerns alleviated that may be there. So that's one good thing. The retail space has been big for us with Ace Hardware. We'll be on Walmart.com soon, because we've had a number of them that reach out to us and say, this is unique pest control. And one of the things that you see from the retail space is when they say, well, you're not going to replace anything on here because being the same product, you're going to give us an additional product that can be used that's more environmentally friendly. And they really like that. So our e-commerce expansion has been going well. I mentioned we were on Amazon.com. And so just getting into those gives us a whole new group of people and companies and other groups that we can interact with. And we're really excited about that.
Wonderful. Well, let's touch a little bit more on you, CEO and President, Mr. Friend. What's your background? Just touch ever so slightly on that for those who don't know you. And what led you to join this company, and why do you support the mission so strongly?
Well, I spent, my career, I spent over 15 years in some areas that were immediately relevant to this, and that was in the regulated pest control and vector control space. So I know that the challenges of that controlling pests to protect public health and maintain a higher standard of living. I really know what those challenges are, and that really came to be something that when the opportunity at SenesTech came about, that really kind of led me to that opportunity and made me really interested in it. I know and understand the players within the pest control industry and the vector control industry, and really the vital role that they play in protecting and preventing against disease outbreaks. So that was I love the industry, and that kind of drew me towards it. I also have extensive experience as a leader of large organizations and how to grow organizations, which is where we're at right now, a smaller size company, but about to become a large organization. And I will do the same thing at SenesTech, is grow the business, do it in a way that we interact with our customers on a daily basis in a positive way. And I really believe in the mission and the people in SenesTech. So when I put it all together, it was the right opportunity, and I jumped at the opportunity.
I'm sure they're really lucky to have you. Touching on the most recent news update yesterday, there's a reverse stock split for SenesTech. Do you want to touch on that and how you see that benefiting your existing shareholders?
Yeah, so we did a reverse stock split. Our share price hasn't really reflected the value in the company, and in order to keep the price above the dollar per share on the NASDAQ as per the regulations there, we decided to do a reverse stock split. And we think that over long term, this will be great for the company because it keeps us as listed on the NASDAQ. And as we move forward, you're going to start to see some real value that's generated there.
100%. Let's touch on some future goals and milestones. What are you aiming to achieve in the coming years?
Well, I think that when we look at, Evolve being such a key driver here. So really, when you look at it, it's like we're only 7 months into the launch, and we've done a lot, and we've identified these key channels for us. As we move forward and with our exclusive distribution agreements and the channels that we've identified and the stocking orders that we've had already in not only the United States, but around the world, we expect to have many more of those approvals come along. So we're going to be growing the markets that we serve in North America, but we're also going to be growing those markets globally. And we're skilled at, okay, how do we get the products approved for use? And we're in the process of doing that. And when you look at it, it's like adding those to our lineup, those distribution channels to our lineup, and focusing and having strategies for each. We're going to see a ramp up in sales like we haven't ever seen before.
Any final closing statements? I always love ending with about 3 key takeaways that you'd like our audience to remember as we close off this conversation.
Yeah, I think the key takeaways are there are alternatives out there in the pest control industry that don't deal with death. They will deal with how do you stop the reproductive rate, environmentally friendly, And I think the most important thing is that you don't have to have poisons in order to control your pests. And we can do this in a way that is good for everyone out there.
Excellent. That's SenesTech CEO and President, Mr. Joel Fruin. He's here helping SenesTech to improve the health of our world by humanely managing animal pest populations through fertility control on the NASDAQ as SNES. This is Carmel Fisher. Stay tuned. That's it for The Harvest. Remember to like or subscribe anywhere you listen to podcasts. Stay tuned for more.